Load up your review bomb stratagems, folks. Helldivers 2 players are rallying the troops to take on a new enemy, Sony.
Sending out an SOS!
Freedom forever!
Some Helldivers 2 players are really unhappy right now. And much like the last time fans were in an uproar, there's almost nothing Arrowhead Game Studios can do to solve the problem. The current issue has to do with Sony and the fact that it wants to require everyone, even Steam users, to access the game via PlayStation Network. On May 2nd, Sony made the announcement that it's gonna start requiring Helldivers 2 players to link their Steam account with a PSN account, starting May 6th.
That's right around the corner.
A large section of the player community is very unhappy with this announcement. There's already a seemingly endless deluge of accounts and launchers that PC players need to have set up to have full access to their gaming catalog, and no one is ever excited to be given more hoops to jump through. At best, players have argued that linking a PSN account to a Steam account is just one more inconvenient barrier to playing Helldivers 2. At worst, it can prevent some players from getting into the game at all. Players are taking to the internet to complain and even demand refunds. Arrowhead is doing its best to control the damage, all while Sony is trying to explain why having a PSN account is totally worth it. First off, it is worth remembering that Helldivers 2 is a Sony exclusive, even though PC players have been allowed to get in on the action. It's also worth pointing out that the PSN linking requirement has technically existed since before the game launched, as Sony reminded everyone in the update it posted to Steam. Due to technical issues at the launch of Helldivers 2, we allowed the linking requirements for Steam accounts to a PlayStation Network account to be temporarily optional. Sony is referring to when the Helldivers devs had to apologize for the game being completely unplayable in the days just after launch. Because the servers were so overloaded, Sony temporarily dropped the PSN requirement, which aided in getting players logged in quicker. Now that initial grace period is coming to an end, but players won't have to sign up for a PSN account right away on May 6th. They'll actually have until June 4th to either link accounts or hand over their helmets and Helldivers-issued firearms. Over on the official Helldivers Discord channel, Arrowhead's community managers are trying to calm people down, pointing out that Arrowhead has very little to do with this decision, and that the dev team is waiting on more info from Sony. Considering Sony publishes the game, it's probably true that Arrowhead's hands are tied here, but that hasn't made fans any happier. It's fair to say that the majority of the Helldivers 2 community is upset by this move. Many feel like this requirement has been sprung on them after months of being able to play the game through Steam alone with no issue. Players are review bombing the title on Steam, putting dents in its shiny user score. Meanwhile, social media is filling up with stories of furious players attempting to refund their copy of Helldivers 2, only to find that they've put too much time into the game for the refund to even be considered by customer support. Sony does have a few defenders in its corner though, who have pointed out that this was always on the cards.
The game was rigged from the start.
The requirements may have been there from the beginning, but many players jumped into the game after Sony waived it. Now some players are realizing that they may be locked out of the game for good. One Redditor wrote, "My region, Sri Lanka, isn't even on the country list supported on PSN. I can't even create an account." Players from across the globe chimed in with similar complaints, while others pointed out that choosing to register your PSN account in a different region breaks Sony's terms of service and can get you banned. Even so, Sony claims that this change is necessary, quote, to protect players from griefing and abuse. How, you might be wondering?
I never explain anything.
He is hoping Sony changes its tune, otherwise the Helldivers may find themselves suffering from thinning ranks.